Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today is part 4 of Stars in Your Eyes palette, where today I promised you I'm going to do happy eyes. Now I'm going to put a timestamp when I start because every time I say happy eyes it makes me want to giggle. So I want to tell you, explain to you why. But I'll put a timestamp in case you want to skip forward to the start of this tutorial. So when I was in my 20s, obviously a lot more mobile and trying to stay fit, I remember going to some exercise classes, and we were doing some exercises, you know, these ones where you grasp your arms in front of you and you push against them and you kind of say, I must improve my bust, that kind of thing. And every week the instructor would say, come on ladies, plenty of these, we need happy eyes, not sad eyes. And everyone would giggle. And I was so naive. I knew that they were laughing at a joke, but I just didn't understand what the joke was. And I thought, what's so funny about sad eyes, happy eyes? And anyway, so roll on a few more weeks and I've been doing loads of exercises at home. I'd lost a lot of weight and got out the bath one day and caught sight of myself in the mirror, and suddenly I got the joke, because staring back at me was happy eyes. And I started to giggle and I went to the class and went, I've got happy eyes, I've got happy eyes, and they were all giggling. I'm sure you've worked out what it means to have happy eyes rather than sad eyes when you're doing exercises to increase the tone of your bust area. Okay, so every time I see happy eyes now, it just makes me think of that. Enough of that. These are the only happy eyes I've got now. Right, in this palette. Right, okay, gravity, not a friend. So today I'm doing happy eyes. Let's not go there. Today I'm doing happy eyes, and I've done exactly what I've done the last 3 days. So I have put the MAC paint pot in soft ochre, and I did try and prime my lids. Oh, 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Delivery from my other half. Okay, so let's get on to happy eyes. Done the primer. I did try to put under eye setting powder on instead, but I just found that it didn't have the same effect. This is quite good at cancelling any darkness out on your eyes. And just to remind people that the reason I'm doing that is because some of the darker shadows I think may have a tendency to stain your lids if you don't put on a good primer. Okay, so let's get going. Oh, there's one other thing before we get going. Just wanted to say to you all that I do try, although we've been doing Charlotte Tilbury for the last 4 days, I do actually rotate, as you know, my base products and everything else, because I get bored, and 2, because I like to rotate them so that I use them all up. So if there's a particular day you think, oh, I like the look of Ali's skin today, do have a look in the description bar, because I always put on not only what I've used in the video, but the base that I've put on and all the other products. Okay, so please take a look in the description bar. Okay, so first of all, let's show you happy eyes. This look, one of the reasons that I left it till last, even though it's probably my first or second favourite, I would say, is because actually the look is quite contained within the 3 shadows. So especially for people like myself that have got hooded lids, because you've got 2 lovely matte shades and then you've got a shimmer shade. So apart from the fact that you haven't got a highlighter, which you can kind of go back to using this one or this one, it's pretty much contained within here in terms of what you do. But I will show you what I would do. I'm going to just do the obvious thing that I would do with this this particular shade, and I think that's why I left it till last, because it seems pretty obvious to me what you do with these shades. Okay, but maybe not to my viewers. All right, so first of all, I am going to go in with the enhanced shade in Happy Eyes, and I'll put an image here. All right, so with a blending brush, I'm going to take this shade and I'm going to start off quite conservatively. And I'm going to use this like a transition shade. And you may see there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube that put on eyeshadow in this order. They start off with the transition shade. And I think that this particular method works well with this trio of eye colours. So with this transition shade, you're putting it into the crease, but you're taking it quite high up to just below the brow bone, okay? Because it's going to act as a transition. You've seen me putting transitions on before, but yesterday I put it on after I'd put the lid colour on. Okay, and then the other side. Right, I don't know if you saw that because I speeded it up, but I'd forgotten to put, I had my hand there and I suddenly went like that. And as soon as I did, it blended better. Okay. So, I've now put on that as a transition shade. Now you can go back in with the same brush, or you can go in with a slightly smaller brush. I'm going to go in with my MAC 217. And now I'm going to use the smoke shade. And what I'm aiming to do is to get that right into the crease and blend that. And in fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because I think this is a really easy way. When you're aiming to do transition and then a crease shade, you're aiming to get that graduation. And sometimes the danger is, the reason that people use different brushes to put the transition shade on and then to put on the crease shade is so that they create one brush. They normally put on a smaller brush to get into that crease so that they've got it darker, gradually going out to lighter. Now what can be difficult sometimes is to get it a bit lower so that it doesn't just cover what you've just done. You want that graduation, and the easiest way to do that is to get your smudger brush, and that way you're not going to do it, put it in exactly the same place, and just place it. Okay, it does mean when you do it this way, it makes it easier in terms of placement. What it doesn't make it easier is in terms of blending. You have to blend a bit more, but it gives you that graduation that you want. Okay, so in that respect it's easier. And then I'm going to tuck that into the edge there, and then I'll do the other side before I blend, so that I've got it looking reasonably. Now actually Wayne wouldn't put this all the way across. It depends really on the look. Like I'm doing a bit of a halo. Wayne would just take it up to there and say the brush is going to push it further along. But try it out and see what you like. Sometimes I do that and just take it to there. Sometimes I take it all the way along. Now you see, as I've been talking, I've put a slightly bit more on that side. So I'm going to do that this side. So I make sure that I've got it even. And then I need to tuck some of that, a bit more of that in the corner there. All right, now it's blend time and speeding up time. And hold the brush at the end. Circular motions. Okay, that's also what I love about these eyeshadows, is that they are so easy to blend. Now I'm going to do some cleanup at the end, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to actually show you this time, because I always say I'm going to do some cleanup at the end, and I never show you that step. So I will show you, because it makes a massive difference. And I'm now going to go in with my smudge brush. And underneath, I'm going to take a little bit, first of all, of the enhanced shade that I put on first and run that along. And I'll take that sort of almost up to the end, just about that far. I don't want to take it any further than that, otherwise it will start to make my eyes look a lot smaller. And then this one. And then I'm going to take the darker brown and blend a little bit of that in, just to about the middle. Just a dab. And just make sure that you kind of join it up. All right. Now, Happy Eyes enhanced, no, prime shade. So I'm just going to take some of this with my fingers. Again, if you want to make this pop a bit more, not that it needs it, but when you get a shade that pops, you want to make it pop even more. Well, I do. I get greedy. If you want to make this pop even more than it is about to pop, then you could put on a colour chameleon like I did yesterday. Something like amber haze would work brilliantly, or bronze garnet. I'm just going to press this onto my lid, like so. And the other side. It really doesn't need anything to help it pop, this one. It is just so buttery and pigmented. I mean, goodness knows what would happen if you put this on wet. It would really pop. Okay, and then I'm just going to get my blending brush, Charlotte's one. And what I want to do is I'm going to take the enhanced shade, a little bit of the enhanced shade, just to blend the edges of what I've done. Just to help me blend the top of that prime shade into the socket. Not sure I took that one high enough. That's a bit better. Right, and then last but not least, you can either go for the matte prime shade, which is Love Eyes, or the Power Eyes prime shade, which is got more of a sheen to it. I'm going to go for the Power Eyes one. Because I've got two matte shades there in the socket, so it's about balancing it out. If you had shimmer all over your lids, you might want to go for the matte one, and if you've got matte all over your lids, then you might want to go for the shimmer one. It might just be how you're feeling. And then with that smudge brush, I'll just take a little bit in there and a little bit in there. All right, and I am going to now use Barbarella Brown. Now, you know what I fancy doing? I'm going to quickly get my liner brush. You could leave it like that, but I'm going to get the prime shade that I've just put on my lids. And I'm going to press that into the Barbarella Brown. Because what that will do is the Barbarella Brown underneath will make it look darker, but shimmery still. So it gives you a slightly darker, sort of shimmery brown eyeliner. And a video wouldn't be complete without a little tip thrown in. I just love playing. And I do think, if you look at children, I've said this before, so just switch off if you heard me say this before. If you look at children, I look at my son with the iPad, and then you see my partner, who's a lot older. My partner gets very frustrated and like, oh, I don't know what I've done. And you can see he looks scared of it. I don't know what I've done, don't know what I've done, help, help, help. And as though somehow the iPad's going to bite him, or he's going to delete something really important or something else. So he kind of does that. With children, with my son, he had an iPad. I mean, I did introduce it very early because he was very hyperactive and used to run off. And sometimes it was the only way to get him to sit still when I was afraid he was going to run off and I was on my own with him. And because he's had it since he was young and he's not afraid of it, he can do things that I can't do. And it's very similar with makeup, is if you're not scared to experiment and make mistakes, then you find out all sorts of glorious things that you can do with makeup. And that's why I've always said, don't use makeup to cover things up. Look and think, oh, what would I like to try? And you can cover up, yes, but don't go in with that attitude. Because when you go in with that, oh, I wonder what that'll look like. I might have to wash it all off and try again. There's very few times that I actually have had to wash my makeup off and start again. Because I'll go with it. Even when I make a mistake, I'll think, right, how can I correct that? And that's why when I make mistakes on here, I always go with it, or I try to go with it. I've never stopped a video and taken it all off and started again, because it's only when you make mistakes that you learn how to correct them and actually discover great new things because you've stepped out of your comfort zone. Anyway, sorry about that. Lecture over. So I've just made it, you probably can't notice it too much, but it is sort of made it a more of a shimmery brown eyeliner. And I can even take some of that underneath. And because my eye is watering, it might even look a bit more shimmery. Because when you mix this with water, it is going to be outstanding. It's very loose in the pan, this shade. It will kick back, as they call it. You know, when you get it, there's a lot of it that's sort of sitting on the top of the shadow. But I don't understand why people get annoyed by that, because often they're the most pigmented shadows. Anyway, I must stop going on. I'm really on my high horse today. Right, I'm going to get some eyeshadow. And I tell you what, I'm going to finish off with one more trick. Okay, now this isn't the trick, but I promised I'd show you this. So when you finish doing your makeup, you can see that I've gone over a little bit. Now what you're aiming for in makeup is to get it ending from where the tip is of your eye, there, as if you were drawing a diagonal line up to the top of your brow. Anything over that, what it's going to do is it's going to have the effect of pulling your eyes down, a bit like, you know, a sad clown face. Sad face, happy face. So you don't, and it does make a huge difference, although it's a very subtle change. So what you do is you just get one of these wipes, like makeup remover wipes, and you just put it folded as though you're drawing a line between those two things and swipe up. Okay? Now, obviously, you might take a bit of your foundation off, and I'm going to correct that in a minute. Now, I'm going to turn it round so I've got a clean side, and then, again, from there to there, and swipe up. And immediately what that does is it lifts your eyes. I don't know if you can see that. This side, because this eye is a bit red in the corner, it doesn't perhaps look as noticeable yet. But now what I'm just doing is dabbing that with my hand just to dry it off. And then I'm just going to take some retoucher and do that. Okay, and then just dab it. And can you see how that's immediately lifted my eye rather than... It really does make a massive difference to whether your eye looks a bit droopy. And I saw Wayne Goss actually talking about where to place concealer, anti-aging tips with concealer, and he was doing this, just putting the concealer there anyway to lift you. So it just makes everything go. Okay. Now, I have been doing this for years, probably since I was about 14, because of Princess Diana. And I'm not sure completely what the technical name for it is, but I heard Wayne Goss referring to it as a drop shadow. And what it is when you find a colour that is the opposite on the colour wheel as the one you've just put on your eyes, and you put it in the waterline, and it just makes your eyes pop. So when I'm doing purple eyeshadow and I'm doing it, I tend to put on blue. And when I'm doing a sort of brownie toned eyeshadow, I tend to put on green. And this is what I'm using, Minted by MAC. There's me saying I don't have a lot of coloured eyeliners the other day. And my nose started to grow as I was saying that to you all. Because I just forget how many things I've got sometimes. But yes, so I wouldn't put that liquid in the waterline anyway. I wouldn't put any liquid in my waterline, although I've seen people doing it. I just reckon it would sting. I'm just going to do one eye so that you can see what it looks like. Can you see that? It just kind of, it would help if my eye didn't start to water, but it just kind of makes it look at my eyeshadow kind of thing. I've also done it with teal. Teal looks really beautiful. And also because it's the opposite colour to my eye colour, it's just a bit of something different. But if not, you could just put the Barbarella brown in the waterline, or you could put eye cheat in the waterline. You've got different options with this eyeshadow because it's sort of quite a classically browny red. Okay, and now I'm just going to finish off by putting another coat of mascara on. I've put one coat on. I'm just going to put another one, and I'll be right back. Hi, I'm back and I'm finished. Every now and again my lipsticks speak to me, and no, I'm not going mad, but I could hear them from the other side of the room after I put my eyeshadow on saying, "Bond girl, pick me, pick me." No, I just think this eyeshadow screamed out for Bond girl, so I have put on Bond girl. I hope you like it, and I hope you've enjoyed my looks. I'll probably have a couple of days break. I may do another look. Let me know if you want another one. I might have a few more ideas, but I will join you on Friday for the long-awaited Foundation Friday, and next Tuesday I will be doing another Ask Ali at 1 PM UK time. So if you want to join me then, please do. Otherwise, I will see you on Friday. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.